Hi there everybody. I'm Jen Rice and I am hanging out in my mom's clubhouse area today since our house is still getting some damage repaired from Irma. But I wanted to pop in here today and talk about are you stressed out or are you on the path to a burnout? And there's a big difference because there are signs of stress, which are, actually good signs that help us get things done. Like maybe we're having over engagement, or we're over excited about things, or maybe even over anxious about things that are going on. That's when we know that we're just having stress. But burnout is a little bit different. It's actually the feelings of disengagement. You start having more like blunted emotions. So instead of having, sorry about that little call there, instead of having an overexcited emotion, you're actually having more bluntness. So a lack of emotion and less motivation. Hey Keely, thanks for joining. Love having you here. I'm talking about the difference between when you're feeling stress and then if you're perhaps headed towards burnout, because they're very different emotions and sometimes the signs aren't that clear. I know for me personally, I did not notice the signs of burnout until I was kind of really already in the throes of it. I sort of thought that, I started to begin having feelings of less empathy, more cynicism. I definitely had a loss of motivation, a bit of detachment in general from my work, which is really actually a sign of burnout instead of stress. When we're in that heightened stress area, we're overexcited, maybe our anxiety is a little bit high, but we haven't gotten to that threshold, if you will, of almost like detachment and lack of emotion about a lot of things. So when you're in a burnout is basically every day is a bad day. So there are not just more good days and bad days, but most days are kind of a bad day. You aren't really caring about what's going on at work. You're not caring that much about what's going on at home. And you feel like in general, things are kind of a waste of energy. Everything you're doing, you're kind of like, one step ahead, two steps back, right? You're exhausted a lot of the time, and no matter how much sleep you're getting or naps or anything, you're still exhausted. And of course, this is Friday. Most of the time on Friday, I'd be on the couch by 8 p.m. And I probably wasn't moving after that because I was definitely exhausted a lot. The majority of your day is spent on tasks that you find not really fulfilling and that you're not being very appreciated for. So you feel like nothing you're doing is matching, it's not really making a difference and you're not really feeling appreciated for it. So those are kind of those feelings that aren't great to talk about. I'm not super comfortable bringing it to the forefront, but I think the more I talk about it, the more comfortable I will become. And I think it's important for other people to address these feelings also, because I don't think we have to have a complete crash or, life emergency or health scare or even a diagnosis of an illness. Let's be honest, guys. I know I have some good friends who are, not only are they my good friends, but they're colleagues that have developed autoimmune conditions, have developed, health issues. We hear all the time about the doctor that falls over, on the golf course or wherever. Like, what's going on here? Are we not, as healthcare providers, taking care of our own selves first? Probably so, right? So, I wanted to talk a little bit about this whole fact that stress usually will stem from a job, a career, a profession, but the stress can also stem from, you can be a stay-at-home mom with tons of responsibilities around your kids. There's a lot of people taking care of aging parents. There are just a lot of stressors, and all of those things can can start out as stress, but as it becomes chronic, it can turn into what we call a burnout. And, it can be everything from the, like I said, the hardworking professional or a frazzled person that has just a lot of things on their plate to do at home every day. So there's two things that you can do right away to sort of head yourself off at the path. And I did not do this very well. So I'm hoping this will help a few people out there, that if I mentioned some of those things earlier about the difference between stress and burnout, and if you're starting to tick more boxes on burnout than just stress, then maybe trying these two things right away will help you. Number one, nobody's gonna like this one, it's exercise. And I don't mean like, gotta hire a personal trainer and go every morning at 4 a.m. No, you can take a walk every day for at least 20 to 30 minutes and just breathe fresh air, not bring your phone, or if you bring your phone, just don't be doing anything with it other than maybe listening to music. I think reading your phone the whole time you're walking isn't very helpful. I'll admit I do that sometimes, and it doesn't really clear the brain, or it's not the purpose of taking exercise. If you enjoy indoor workouts, doing something like that, if you are not someone that likes to walk outside and doesn't like to go to the gym, there's certainly lots of videos on YouTube where you can do stretching, yoga. I mean, geez, there's like everything on there now, right? So find something and make it a priority and a high point for you every day at some point to give yourself that 30-minute exercise. Second thing, we eat, or should be eating, all day long, right? And what we choose to eat is absolutely going to impact the amount of inflammation in our system and can help us to sort of ward off some of this stress that we're having, and of course the inflammation in general. So a couple things you can do right away is, when you're choosing what to eat in a day, try to stay away from things that are over processed. I've shot videos before on how I spent a lot of time, and I invested in a functional medicine physician to improve my own health. I think I'm down about 22 pounds so far. I don't know, I haven't gotten on the scale in a few weeks because I feel like it does just keep dropping off, and that is all diet. You guys, I haven't picked up some massive exercise routine. I'm not training for a marathon. I'm not swimming 2 miles a day. I'm exercising, but not with any real vigor. So it's all diet. And what I've done is done a lot of elimination of things I used to love to eat. I was a emotional eater, and I just ate like carbs were great. I loved Triscuits. I loved everything. Hey, Stacy, thanks for joining. Love to see you here. So I'm talking a little bit about the difference between if you're just stressed out or if you're headed towards a burnout. And then I'm giving 2 tips right now. So the first tip was exercise, and the second tip is diet. And I was sort of going through a little bit here on my weight loss that I've had. And no, I don't represent any kind of weight loss company, and I don't have a weight loss program, but what I do have is a lot of great information to share on how to eat an anti-inflammatory diet, which got me off of prescription medications that I was taking for this really it was heartburn that was very difficult to get rid of. In fact, it was almost intractable every evening, and then began during the days. So I removed myself from all medication by doing this particular anti-inflammatory diet for, now I think I'm on about 2.5 months, right? So I'm staying on it. And so when you're out picking your foods, try to stay away from things that are overly processed. I have found stopping in a grocery store is actually better than some of the, chain food type of places, because in the grocery store, at least you can get a salad, a chicken, you can get something in there, right? And so be mindful of the things that you're eating on the fly. I ate on the fly from when I was a paramedic and an EMT, up to paramedic, to PA school, to working in the restaurant business, all of that. I ate on the fly all the time, whatever I could get, right? But that caught up to me in my 40s. And so, hey, Sage, how are you? So I think try to make some better choices when you're on the road. Grocery stores are a good place to stop. Natural food stores are a great place to stop. We did a road trip to North Carolina for Irma evacuation, and we stopped at either the grocery store or a natural food store, and I was able to eat what I felt comfortable eating the whole way up there. Now, if you need to go to fast food because, you know, maybe you have kids in the car and everybody wants French fries and who knows what, you want to try to pick things that are, you know, limit the breads, limit the fried food. We all know this stuff, but when you really put it into play, you'll see that it will have a dramatic impact on the amount of inflammation in your body. So, you know, just to go over again, I have found that nobody needs to go through, you know, kind of what I've been through. And my story looks more like, I mean, it's not a tragic tale, let's say, but it's not something I'm super proud of. I definitely worked myself into a chronic stress level that it just wasn't healthy, and all the habits around that weren't healthy either. But I don't think you have to experience a full burnout in order to sort of make some changes. So what I'm dedicating my time to and effort is creating a platform under Jenn Rice International, which is a website that should be up any minute now, which is really talking to, first and foremost, the people that I feel like we miss a lot of things with, which are healthcare professionals. And basically, we tend to be taking care of everyone else and not really paying much attention to our own health. And so if I can create a little bit more awareness around my own story and journey, and also help other people find a better work-life balance, that is definitely my mission. Of course, to provide, I've met some really interesting people along the way doing the various courses that I've done for my home business that have all sorts of skills like, you know, mindful meditation. And guys, they're way smarter than I am when it comes to providing tools for those of us that are feeling that chronic long-term stress. And I believe this is the root of all of the, if not all, definitely most of the autoimmune conditions that we see popping up, that I'm seeing popping up with my friends in their 40s. And I just think we can make a bigger difference doing this. So, hey, so Adrian, thanks for watching. After 40 years of my kind of cutting out things, yes, okay, so that's something for sure. Gluten, you know, I always thought this was dumb. I mean, I'm gonna be really honest with you guys. I was like the Western medicine, like that fixes with a pill. Penicillin was invented to cure everything, and then every drug that's come after cures everything. I have done a complete 180. I'm not proud that I thought that gluten stuff and how diet affected people's, I thought, those are weak people. Like I really thought, like those are weak people. They're just not strong enough. There really is something to it though, and there's something about over time, how we've been eating that is really coming to the forefront for me. So I appreciate you guys listening today. Like I said, my website will be kicking off. I'm looking for people that are interested in this kind of content. If you want to subscribe to my blog, I'm going to be hitting that a lot more often. Of course, I'll have the videos coming in from time to time, but I really want to create a platform over there. So if you know of someone that might benefit from my content, I would love for you to share this with them. I don't think everyone has to have a major health crisis, visit the ER, go pay for a functional medicine doctor, all of that in order to kind of have an aha or epiphany to it. And a lot of us are running this race that doesn't really go anywhere. Maybe financially for a little while, but there are things we can do to kind of create a better balance. So thank you guys so much for being here live today. I love that. And if you have any experience yourself, I know that a lot of my friends have started to adopt different ways of eating, but exercise tips for people that you know, don't like to exercise. You know, what are you doing? If you love to exercise, what's your like go-to thing? Did you join Orange Theory or one of these kind of group things? Does that helpful? I don't know. I toddle between, I like to be alone. I'm an only child. So I feel like when I can be alone, I like to be alone to like walk, but I do see the value in group exercise because it makes you do more than what you do by yourself, right? So, okay, you guys have a great weekend, and take care.